Hey, how are ya? Hey, how are ya? I'm back, and got to talk about Joel Seedman. So, at this point, I feel like I am attached at the hip uh, to my number one adversary, and that's Joel Seedman. And the reason I feel like this is because I have been making videos on this guy for a long time. One of the best videos that I made kind of went under the radar. I had Dr. Sam Spinelli, who's a great physical therapist. Follow him on Instagram. He's like, I love the way his his approach to physical therapy and pain science. Anyways, he read the articles. If you don't know, that's kind of like one of the big memes around Seedman is that what he'll do is put these crazy exercises up, and people will ask questions, and he'll just say, read the article, right? And we were talking about the 90-degree squat, which he's talking about 90-degree joint angle. So it ends up looking like the typical quarter squat, not even a half squat, just like a quarter of a squat. You know, you're dropping maybe 6-7 inches. And Spinelli looked at all of the ones that he linked, and like almost all of them were bogus or didn't really fit the narrative at all that Joel Seedman was trying to spin. And so what recently happened, there was a debate. And I got to tell you, I was pretty jealous that I wasn't the one sitting across from Joel. However, Mike Israetel is a great option. And he did a fantastic job really shining a light on the main flaw that charlatans have and guys like Joel Seedman have. I'm going to pull up a comment that I made on Mike Israetel's Instagram, and it's really like, this is just my take, and it will always be, and this is an evolved take, because I did not think like this at first. I used to just take it from the approach of, this guy's a goddamn idiot. Nothing what he does, like, what he promotes is false, and he does all these absolute claims. I'm beyond that at this point. I'm really trying to understand the psychology of it all and hopefully explain it to people. So I'll show you guys the video.
Yeah. So one of the things I always say, and I need to do a better job of this on Instagram, is 80% of everything I have my athletes do, everything that I do, it focuses on the foundational movements. Okay. Now, I say this a lot, and when I post exercises, I do intentionally oftentimes go after exercises that are a little bit more eye-catching, because I know that for me to reach the most population, the largest portion of the audience, okay, and to make the biggest impact, okay, because that's ultimately what I'm trying to do, is how do I get people to notice things, read a little bit more, and to, basically take a look at what I'm doing. If I just posted deadlift, squat, bench, and even though we do a lot of those, and that makes up a stronger majority of my training than just unstable versions, I'd probably get a quarter of the people looking at my things. My reach, my potential to impact people's lives with what I believe are helpful methods.
After watching the entirety of the debate, I had to just say this. I'll be a self-proclaimed veteran in the study of Joel, as I've been making videos on him for 2 years now. As honorable or dishonorable his approach is, it doesn't matter. We live in an algorithm-run world. His paycheck from capitalization on this algorithm is exactly what he cares about. And to a certain extent, albeit much lesser, it's what we all care about. And that's true. Being a content creator, I do care about how the algorithm works. I do care about these things, but there's a fine line there that I hope to never, ever cross. Charlatans like Joel will never be ousted or even see the loss of algorithm goals. At this point, Joel to me is the epitome of capitalistic gains in the absence of shame. He is the heel of our sphere and will reap the benefits until he subsides. Anyone who has had any attention in any pop culture discourse has and will forever gain from it, so long as they know how to push away the shame of being dishonest and being repeatedly called out on it. So this, I think a lot about these athletes who've been popped for steroids in baseball, Lance Armstrong. As long as they can push away their shame and keep on pushing on, the algorithms, it doesn't matter. The views that they could get from that negativity could boost them into the next phase of their life. That's where we're at. And that's not to say that people can't do their penance and then come back, because I believe that to be true as well. However, I feel like a guy like Joel Seedman just never has any sort of looking back and being like, oh, maybe I should be a better person. Maybe I should change. At this point, I don't think he can. He's too invested in what he's done. After that, I said, Mike, you did an amazing job of cracking him with even-keeled pressure. He makes absolute statements all the time, and when push comes to shove, he shows nuance, specifically with Mike. So in that interview, he's always trying to agree with Mike, trying to side with Mike. And so nuance is not part of the charlatan's lexicon. Therefore, by agreeing with you or positioning himself to look like he's on the same side as you, he can mask his undeniably false claims. So that's really what Mike accomplished there. In my opinion, that's what we're looking at, is a guy who, when he agrees or tries to minimize his own position, is already losing, because his position is maximal. His position is absolute. And he even admits it. He says, this is Instagram. You got to get people's attention. You got to do this. You got to do, when in reality, he claims to be doing something different. So the main argument here is that he has this 80%, 20% ratio. 80% of the time, he's doing conventional training. And 20% of the time, he's doing this wacky stuff that he shows everyone on Instagram. And that's just to show off. That's just to get the algorithm working for you, which is bullshit. There's no way. There's no way in hell he's doing that, okay? That's just not true. And any of his conventional work, he's only doing the 90 degrees. So, I personally, at this point, I don't really give a shit about his training methodologies anymore. I just find it interesting to watch this charlatan evolve into just exposing himself, by saying, oh, Mike, I do 80% of the time, I do what you're talking about. He's already losing, because that's not the picture he's painting all the goddamn time. That's not the thing he's selling. So yeah, I just thought it was interesting. I needed to comment on it. I have to. At this point, Joel Seedman is like my, Lucifer to, oh God, I'm not comparing myself to God. That's pathetic. Who's a good bad guy to good guy? Think of a good bad guy to good guy comparison, and that is hopefully myself to Joel Seedman. I cannot lose this guy. I can't shake him. And we're going to continue to talk about him until he fizzles out, which is not going to happen because he's a shameless, egotistical maniac. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.